suggestions that I would like to share with everyone, especially the Commission. I read a report from the former Commissioner of Fish and Wildlife, Steve Wright, and I really support what he had to say about carbon farming and sequestration of carbon through best practices. And he suggests that through carbon farming, we could actually potentially sequester more carbon than Vermont's current annual emissions. And I do have all the website information on here that I'm going to be in off. Second,
No one can hear you.
I think these guys can hear me. I don't know how to speak up.
Is there a microphone someplace?
No.
There's not a microphone.
Sorry. The other suggestion that I have is distributed energy. I think that we should stay away from building large industrial renewable projects and then transmitting it over long distances. I think that we need to build close to the load. And this would reduce our transmission and our curtailment issues. At one time, I always thought Vermont's focus was going to be energy independence, but I see our industrial renewable energy projects selling renewable energy credits out of state, and I see some of our projects that are being proposed wanting to sell their energy out of state. And I really think all renewable energy that's built in Vermont should stay in Vermont. And the last suggestion that I want to share is I think that we cannot depend on expensive, intermittent sources like wind and solar. Our economy depends on low-cost electricity that's base load, because our Vermont companies compete globally, not just in New England. And we need to buy the low-cost, base-load, renewable energy more from Hydro-Quebec. Thank you very much.
Dustin Lang, Franklin County. I would like to help you in your quest to achieve our energy goals. First of all, I think we ought to evaluate the energy sources available to us, meaning hydro, natural gas, wind, solar, present nuclear, biomass, and methane gas. And then evaluate our energy needs and apply these energy sources to specific needs: transportation, heating of buildings and homes, electrical generation, and designate the best application of each energy source to its final outcome. I realize due to renewable energy requirements being passed in other surrounding states, everybody's looking at Vermont as a source for them. New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, for example. Their sights are set on us as potential suppliers, and I'd like to point out that the 5 industrial wind turbine projects in the state of Vermont, none of the renewable energy credits stay in this state. So I suggest that if Vermont's renewable energy goals are fulfilled first, before we transmit all this electricity that we're sacrificing our hills and fields for, be transferred out of state. And I won't be able to stay to the end of this program because I have lots to do in preparation for the change of seasons. But I'm sure in this conversation tonight, the subject of the carbon tax is going to come up. And I'd like to say this about that. Vermont's state and local tax burden, calculated by dividing the tax collection by the personal income, was the 6th highest in the nation in 2013, 16% above the national average. I don't think Vermont can afford any more taxes. The specifics of this tax are yet to be proposed, but we're hearing talk that the money is going to be returned to the taxpayers. Now, there will be some administrative cost here in collecting the tax, distributing the tax, and I have never seen a state program that's been efficient in operation. So there's going to be money spent here. Don't fool yourselves.
Sir, if I could ask you to wrap it up.
Yes. In closing, please don't use the association fallacy if my views don't agree with yours, and associate me with the Trump administration or climate deniers. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jim Stiles, and I guess I would like to start off by saying one of the things that I think is really easy, low-hanging fruit is a carbon tax. I think it's a tremendously good idea. I think it should be revenue neutral. I don't think we need any more taxes, but it's an efficient tax to collect and does a lot of good things. Next, I'd like to talk about another point that was already brought up, regenerative farming and soil carbon sequestration. It's a genuinely exciting option. Very large amounts of carbon can be removed from the atmosphere, put into the soil, taking it from where it does bad, putting it where it does good. Just this last weekend, I had a discussion with a farmer in just over by Troy, Vermont. He's got 9% carbon content in his soil, which is just phenomenally good. If we get even any small fraction of that in a large number of Vermont farms, we will not only make the air better, we'll improve the soil's ability to hold nutrients, hold water, and give them back as needed. Tremendously strong opportunity. One specific recommendation would be for the state to go ahead and agree and look for sources, preferably in Vermont, for soil inoculants. These are, it's a type of compost material that can be added and applied to the soil to start to build soil biology in preference to soil chemistry, which is a way to rapidly increase the amount of carbon being sequestered and its ability to hold water and nutrients. Let's see. And there are just two other points that are much sort of larger in scope that I would like to speak to. One is, I think it's time we start thinking about ways to get people moved out of flood-prone areas. If we don't do it, it's going to cost us a great deal of money in terms of, picking up after floods. We know something about that here. And so there is, in fact, a very bad thing that can happen if we don't, and a very good thing can happen if we do it in a controlled manner. And one last quick point, I would also like to suggest that we prepare to receive people suffering from climate problems elsewhere and who would be climate migrants who will be moving to other places like Vermont.
I'm Mary Harbaugh, trustee Albans. First, thank you all for serving. I know it's hard work to take on something like this, so thank you. I want to encourage you to think big. This is a huge, complicated challenge that we face. And it's easy, given your charge, to come up with a lot of nice little projects that fit the puzzle. But really, nobody else is doing this. We need you to do this. We need you to think big. I want to encourage the governor to, maybe make a partnership with other New England states, with Canada, do something, find a way to allow individuals and families to sell excess solar power to the grid. I know it's very hard, but it needs to be done. Think of all the farms, all the houses. If you could make a buck, you would get those solar cells up there. And in a related way, I'd like to see some zoning code locally or maybe at the state level where, as a default, with waivers available, every new building has a south-facing roof, unless you have a good reason not to. You're not required to put solar on there, but the next person might want to put it on. And if that person doesn't, then the next one will. Certainly by then, they certainly will. You have to charge your electric car. We just have to think big. We have to be ready. Future's coming at us really fast. Little tiny projects aren't going to do it. Secondly, on the question of carbon tax, the previous speaker alluded to this. Nobody wants extra taxes. It doesn't have to be extra. Think about tax reform. Think about juggling taxes so that taxes are supposed to encourage good stuff, discourage bad stuff. You want to encourage people not to pollute. Use taxes for what they're supposed to do. It's not just generate revenue for whatever. Specific activities should be encouraged or discouraged. So, I'm not a tax expert, but I'm sure there are places where we can cut taxes in order to create a tax that provides an incentive for people to do the right thing.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.